Okay, I should have done this forever ago. Okay, so Great started from like the weirdest idea. I'll preface by saying that for my record, Great was the first idea I had for the record, but it was the last song to be finished. I knew the song had huge potential up in here, but I didn't know how to make the song yet. But it all started from an idea in the shower.
I just wanna be great.
Clearly it was a little bit different. So before I got the idea for Great, I was originally writing a whole different record. I had a whole different idea for what I wanted my next record to be. But when I got the idea for Great, and again I had that potential up in my head, I was like, I need to write a whole different record. So my upcoming album was originally just supposed to be an EP. It was going to be 5 songs long again. And it was all going to be centered around Great. That was the goal originally. So even from the first recording in the shower, I knew that I wanted this song to have a very electronic feel, which is something I've never done before. I had no idea how to even do it. I didn't even know how to play piano. So while driving, I got this idea of what I wanted the rhythm to sound like. As soon as I stopped recording it, I was like, oh boy. Because I had no idea what I was doing. I knew how I wanted it to sound in my head, but I didn't know how to translate that out. So that put me on this road of basically learning everything I could about music. Before Great, I didn't pay much attention to songwriting. I kind of just did things that I was familiar with and things that I thought sounded good. So Great became the first step out of that comfort zone. So on top of struggling to find out what notes and chords and whatever I wanted to use, and trying to learn piano so that I could emulate it, I wanted to know what do I want this song to be about. You know, you start off with I just want to be great, and you're pretty well aware of where you're trying to go with it. But I didn't know how deep I wanted this song to go into it. Me as a writer, inherently, I think the word dreams is like corny. So I didn't want the song to be like, my dreams are to be great. I didn't know how I wanted to present it to you. Am I begging to be great? Am I telling you what I want? Or is this a diary entry? What is it, you know? I was at work and I was thinking of the and I had just gotten the idea of there was a time where I thought I'd be the best. But I do remember exactly where I was. I was in the car. I remember exactly where I was at, where I was going, and what I was doing. But I had gotten this idea. You could take me down a notch, but you wouldn't like what I'd have to lose. And originally it wasn't going to be for Great. I didn't know what it was going to be for.
Take me back to my room. Say this is where failure lives. Where failure lives. When I say, oh, what gives? And
I really felt the song starting to come together. But I only had this, at this point, this entire first verse, and then this entire weird area of a chorus. So for me, for as long as I've been a writer, it's almost always started with music and then I write lyrics on top of it. And Great was one of the first times I didn't do that. Came up with these lyrics and how I wanted them to be presented, and then I wanted to craft the chords around them. I'll say this is when I probably started getting really interested in lyrics. So I start with a not knowing what that was. What is that sound? What is that movement? What does that mean? What are even the notes? So it sent me on this long, arduous journey to find the notes.
There was a time that I thought I'd be the best. Dun, dun, dun. I just wanna be great. Whoa.
You see me like try all these different piano parts, and I had to remind myself what the original sound was, because everything I was making at this point wasn't what I was trying to do.
Baby, you could take me down a notch, but you wouldn't
getting from the beginning of the chorus to the end of the chorus took a long time for me to understand what I was trying to say. There was a bunch of different lyrics that were written for it.
If that's what you'd like to choose, then I wouldn't put my heart and soul in this. If I felt that there could be another way, oh, ask me why I do what I do, and I say that I just wanna be great.
I'll say the biggest breakthrough on the song was finding at least the notes for what would eventually be the electronic boom. When I finally did that, that's when the ball really got rolling on the song. So finally, I had this bare bones idea of how I wanted the song to go. I made a piano draft. This is before I even had total lyrics. So after that, I was like, okay, like, that's what notes I want. That's not the sound I want. How do I get the sound I want? I didn't want, on this record, to really credit anybody but me, if that makes sense. I wanted somebody else to record it, I wanted somebody else to master it, and I wanted them to really take the reins on making it sound good. But musically and lyrically, I wanted to say, I did this all on my own, and it's 100% for me, so I have no one else to blame but me if I don't like it. So I was like, how do I get to that point? How do I do that? Well, I'm going to have to learn how to record. I had bought this pre-Sonos Studio One, just like it was like a $70 version or something, because it was user-friendly enough for me to get it, you know? And it took me a long time of messing with it to like really realize. So from that, I made a demo. So this is the demo, but the intro, this is what it sounded like in my head. I knew I wanted it to have this like filtered noise where then when the rest of the noises would come in, it would be like this build. Everything is building to the chorus, and I knew that this chorus, I wanted the message to be so angry, so kind of in your face. So it took me forever to find the noise that does the and I didn't even know what you would call that. How do you look that up? How do you find out what that is? Well, I just played with a bunch of different noises and options and sounds, and I found out that at least in this program it's called a glide. That's exactly what I had heard in my head. So I knew that I just wanted that note to like throw into the next note. That's a synth, that really nasty, distorted noise. So in the chorus, I had a lot of different things going on, and I wanted there to be a lot of different things going on. And this inspired the rest of my record to be this way, where there's always so many layers of things happening that I want a year from now, even if you've heard the song 100 times, like a year later, you could go back to it and be like, I've never heard that before. So there's like 4 or 5 something layers doing different things in this chorus. I just want to talk about this for like a hot minute. Alright, so for my record, I made demos for every single song except 2, I think. Every single song there was a demo that I created, and then I went into the studio and I'm like this, but better. So at least we had something to work off of. The majority of the original sounds from the demo did not make it on the final cut of anything, except for on Great. I knew I wanted this thrashy guitar, this thrashy metal guitar, like, just nasty on this chorus, but I didn't own an electric guitar, and I didn't know anybody to borrow one, and I didn't care to do that, and I didn't know how to play it on the guitar anyway. I just knew how I wanted it to sound, and I wrote it on the piano. This noise is then it made it on the final version of the song. If you listen very closely, you're going to hear it, but it's... So what is that? I'm really proud of this. I had put a heavy ass distortion on this noise. It was a plug-in. So originally it was a choir. And like this little girls choir, and I just distorted the hell out of it. And that's on the final version of the record. You could, if you, I'll try to single it out and show you. So the original plan for the song was to make it be prettier as the song went, and it ended up not turning out that way. But it's still happening. It was mainly the piano that is like supposed to get prettier and more active as the song gets further on. But instead, we went a more electronic route and a more like jam route. But if you listen, you might not be able to hear it in the final version of the song, but even in the final version of the song, if you listen to the first chorus, this is the piano. It's very just doing not much. But in the second chorus, when I wanted the song to get prettier as it went, it's a lot more active and a lot more beautiful. Part I got most stoked about in the song, straight honestly, it's so dumb but I cried my eyes out after. This is when I knew the song was done. It was the last thing I added to the song, and it was before the last chorus. It's just this. Straight bawled my eyes out. And that's when I knew the song was done, and that's how Great became a thing. And that was how it went from the beginning to the end of the journey. I hope it was as interesting as I wanted it to be. I'm really proud of the song. I put a lot of oomph in it. Sorry it took me so long to make this. The camera's dying, so that's why I'm talking so fast. If you have any questions, comment below and I'll answer. You're the best. Thank you.